Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 30th November. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 10. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, US now within range of North Korea's nuclear weapons. So North Korea has now successfully tested a new intercontinental ballistic missile. So this is a missile which has a range of more than 5,500 kilometers. So this new missile is Hwasong 15. So it's the Hwasong here means it refers to in Korean language to planet Mars. So this is North Korean missile now, the latest one, which is set to achieve a range of over 13,000 kilometers. So this is the missile. So how much payload can it carry is another matter. Even a US-based union of concerned scientists have said that it is more than enough range to reach even Washington DC and rest of US. So this is the concern, but if it could carry a large nuclear warhead that far is another question which is unclear presently. So this has been the latest test firing of a missile by North Korea, which has been declared as a rogue state by US. US President Donald Trump last week also put North Korea back on US list of countries which it says supports terrorism. So then it is allowed to impose sanctions against them. So here now North Korea has also retaliated. So here you can see the intercontinental ballistic missiles. So these are missiles which Russia, China, US, France, North Korea and even India have. India's ballistic ICBM is Agni 5. Then it has been stated here by North Korea that the new missile reached an altitude of about 4,475 kilometers up above the surface of the Earth. So this is more than 10 times the height of International Space Station. So this International Space Station, you should know, is the orbiting laboratory and a construction site that uses scientific expertise of 16 nations to have a permanent human outpost in space. So it is around 240 miles above this Earth's surface. So this is it. Then next is told to push Rohingya back into Bangladesh, BSF chief. So the Border Security Force Director General KK Sharma has said that they have been instructed to push the Rohingyas back to Bangladesh because once they enter into India, they become a liability. And also he said that around 87 Rohingya Muslims have been apprehended along the border, out of which 76 have been sent back to Bangladesh. He said it is also difficult for the BSF personnel to distinguish between a person who is a Rohingya or a Bangladeshi because they have similar facial features, though the dialect which they speak is different, but then BSF personnel are not equipped to differentiate between the dialect. So they cannot distinguish between whether the person is a Rohingya or Bangladeshi, so all are sent back to Bangladesh. Because once they enter into India, then they become a liability, they have to be rehabilitated or provided refugee status. So that is why they are being sent back. So around 36,000 Rohingyas, it is said, are present within the country presently in various states. And the BSF has actually not come across any specific case where a Rohingya has been caught possessing arms, ammunition or having a terror connection. Though this is a point highlighted by the central government too, that they may have terror links, but then no such Rohingya has been apprehended so far according to the BSF Director General. Then next is Assam NRC issue. Supreme Court accepts apology in contempt proceedings. So Supreme Court has now pulled up the Assam government actually when the Chief Minister here made a statement saying that 15% of the Assam population is tribal and they have not participated in modernization and are away from the mainstream. So such a statement being made has been taken sternly by the Supreme Court. It says how can a state speak in such a language that 15% of its population is out of the mainstream and modernization. Then what is the state doing in this matter is also a question raised. So such a statement actually was made by the Assam government in reference to the National Register of Citizens, which has been updated in Assam presently. So in this initiative, what it wanted to say is that since such a huge population is out of modernization and mainstream, it's taking time for them to update. So this National Register of Citizens of 1951 has been updated by Assam in accordance with the tripartite agreement between the central government, the state government, and all Assam Students Union. So this was an agreement which was arrived at in 2005 to implement the 1985 Assam Accord. So this is basically an initiative taken to identify illegal migrants. So how would they be identified? It's provided here the provision. There have been rules also under this registration of citizenship. So names of persons who are originally inhabitants of the state of Assam, their children and descendants who are citizens of India shall be included in this list of National Register of Citizens. So once it is ascertained beyond doubt and to the satisfaction of the registering authority, their name would be inserted. So of course there are various pleas before the courts to whether what would be the proof that they are original inhabitants. Earlier there was this certificate of residency issued by Gram Panchayat secretary, but then the Guwahati High Court said that this is not a legal and valid document to claim citizenship. So there are apprehensions to hear about who would be included and who would be excluded from National Register of Citizens, based on which illegal migrants would be identified. Then next is India unlikely to cut malaria by half in 2020, World Health Organization. So it is said that India accounts for 6% of global malaria cases and 7% of deaths caused by it in the year 2016, according to World Health Organization data. Also, the World Health Organization says that India is unlikely to reduce its burden beyond 40% by 2020. So there are countries which have achieved malaria-free status in 2015 and 2016 also. So Maldives, Sri Lanka and Kyrgyzstan, they achieved malaria-free status in recent years. But then for India, it is a long road ahead. And this is basically because of weak surveillance system, according to WHO, World Health Organization report. So this is the status. Also 80% of the deaths are due to cases in 15 countries. And these 15 countries are India and 14 sub-Saharan African countries. So this is the burden here you can see. So, and the number of cases due to Plasmodium vivax, actually, which is a milder form of malaria compared to the Plasmodium falciparum. So this is the case, Plasmodium vivax, majorly identified in India. So, and there is also cases of resistance, malaria resistance developing, resistance to the drugs to tackle malaria. So resistance to chloroquine, the first line of treatment for P. vivax infections, has also been seen in various parts of India. So this is also a cause of concern. Here you can see the malaria infected countries shown. It's a tropical, subtropical region majorly suffering due to malaria. And these are the countries in green, like Sri Lanka, which have also become malaria free since 2016. And others which have seen significant decrease, and also the orange ones are ones with significant increase. So malaria, it's caused due to the biting of this female Anopheles mosquito and the various parasites, malaria parasites which they transmit. So this mosquito is just the carrier. The parasites of the protozoa parasites which cause malaria are Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax and many others. And this is the most fatal, causing death also, Plasmodium falciparum. The next is 4,327 Kashmiris get a reprieve. So Jammu and Kashmir government has withdrawn cases against 4,327 youths who are mainly first-time stone throwers involved in 744 cases. So such an initiative has been taken. We have discussed it earlier too. The Director General of Police in Jammu had also, Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. S.P. Vaid has also given his report in which such a recommendation was made, which has been announced by the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti presently, and also the Government of India's Special Representative, the interlocutor for Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Dineshwar Sharma, had also recommended the same. So this withdrawal of cases and their release is being undertaken now. Then next is Singapore offers India logistical base. So India and Singapore signed bilateral agreements for naval cooperation. So this agreement also includes provisions for maritime security, joint exercises, temporary deployment of naval facilities at each other, and also Logistical support, mutual logistical support. So India and Singapore are cooperating. The Strait of Malacca is a region of high economic activity and of critical significance, and here cooperation is being encouraged. Even Sri Lankan Defence Minister was on a visit to India, on the sidelines of which the bilateral agreement was also signed, has also invited Indian Navy to visit the Changi Naval Base of Singapore. So mutual logistics support is also been and also been encouraged. So here you can see this is the Strait of Malacca. So it's an important trade route. A huge amount of trade, and especially oil to Asia from the Pacific region, flows through this route. So China also depends on this, and Strait of Malacca is of significance for it too. So here you can see this is Malaysia, this is Singapore here, this is Indonesia. Then next is government may meld Make in India with Invest India, says Prabhu. So the Commerce Minister, Mr. Prabhu, Suresh Prabhu, has actually stated that the central government is considering combining the strengths of Make in India and Invest India initiatives. So these are the two government initiatives, prominent initiatives in the economic sector. So both have overlaps, because one, Make in India, which was unveiled in September 2014, aims to transform India into global design and manufacturing hub. So that is Make in India, and Invest India is actually a scheme for government's investment promotion and facilitation. So Invest in India. So these are the two schemes, so they can work together. So they will be streamlined for attracting more investments, including from overseas. Also, government is trying to improve the Startup India policy. So this was a policy initiated by the government in January 2016, which was encouraging startups. But only 74 startups have qualified. There were tax benefits under this scheme. So only 74 startups have qualified so far. So even this policy would be reviewed, the deficiencies would be identified, and the process strengthened. So this is being stated here. So here you can see this is regarding Make in India, launched in 2014. So to transform India into a global manufacturing hub. So both local and foreign companies were encouraged to invest in India. So 25 sectors had been identified as priority areas. They have also been listed here for Make in India. And this is Invest India. Invest India was set up in 2009, but then later in 2015 it was further strengthened by the present government, and also initiatives were taken under it to facilitate and promote investments, creating secure environment for businesses in India. So, and the third one is Startup India. Startup India was promoting startups in the country. So this is the scheme to promote them. So it provides various incentives to startups, like they can have self-certification, there's hassle-free registration for them, no labor inspection for initial 3 years, funding support provided by the government. Also credit guarantee funds were made available, even 80% rebate on patent applications, income tax relief for first 3 years, exemption from capital gains tax were some benefits which they got. The next is try backs free data in a non-discriminatory way. So Telecom Regulatory Authority of India had actually made a recommendation of allowing free data to consumers as such. So this free data, how would it, because we have discussed this yesterday only, that TRAI has clearly stated that net neutrality would be upheld. So net cannot be discriminated as such. Internet access should be freely available for all content, for all users. So here it says if you want to give free access, like free basics was rejected, but if you want to give free internet, you can give some free data to consumers in a non-discriminatory manner. So this has been allowed. Even how can it be done? Even the TRAI had recommended that government money can also be used for this, because government has this Universal Service Obligation Fund, USOF. So this is a fund which is used for providing telecom services in rural areas. But then the government has given its viewpoint, the Department of Telecom has given its viewpoint that connectivity as such is of a larger focus, because what is required is that connectivity should be there in rural areas. Then content should be available in local languages for the rural population, and digital literacy should be there in the rural population. Only then internet usage would increase further. So TRI's recommendation that government can provide some free data as such to them has not been accepted, because it says that for the rural subscribers, getting a smartphone, internet functional phone, is a major cost, and data prices have reduced significantly because of tariff wars. So data has become affordable because of tariff war in the telecom sector. There are various competitors that try to provide data in the cheapest rates. So that is not what is a hindrance. So that is why TRI has also accepted government's viewpoint, and it says that government money can be used for increasing connectivity rather than providing free data scheme to rural subscribers. So this is there. So here you can see Department of Telecom had questioned whether it would be worthwhile to provide a subsidy to those rural subscribers who already own smartphones. So if they can own smartphones, of course they can access data too. That's what the government's argument was. And this is regarding the Universal Service Obligation Fund. You should know about this. So this USOF, the policy came into effect from 2002. It has been given a statutory status also under the Telegraph Act of 2003. So the USOF is a fund which is raised through a universal service levy of 5% of the adjusted gross revenue of telecom service providers. So all telecom service providers pay this universal service levy, and this fund which is accumulated is supplemented by government's grants and loans and is used for providing telecom services in rural areas. The next is cooperatives can't use bank in names, RBI. So the RBI has now asked cooperative societies not to use the word bank in their names. It says it violates Section 7 of Banking Regulation Act of 1949, because RBI has not given them any license to function as a bank. So they are accepting deposits from public, because actually cooperatives are supposed to accept deposit only from their own members. So they can't accept deposits from public. So this is like conducting banking business, and this is violation of the Banking Regulation Act. So warning has been issued by RBI to the cooperatives also, and also an alert for the public. So here you should know that cooperative credit societies, they generally use the word bank. Many of them use, and they are the second largest cooperative credit institutions in the country. They account for 44.6% of total institutional credit. So this is there. Also, cooperative society is generally a voluntary association of persons working together with common economic objective. So they provide support to members. It's a self-help, mutual help, not for profit motive organization. It pools individual resources for the group's welfare, for common benefit. Then next is last one. Indus civilization developed around extinct river study. So a recent study which has been undertaken by researchers from IIT Kanpur and Imperial College of London has shown that contrary to the present belief that Indus Valley civilization developed along the banks of a river, there had been no river as such when Indus civilization thrived. So the large river which is said, the Indus River, along which the development took place. So in the Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization is present in present northwest India and Pakistan, and even some parts of Afghanistan. So this region, it has been archaeologically shown that there was this river, Ghagra Hakra River, which was running. Indus and Agra were the two rivers along which the civilization thrived. But now the latest study has shown that this Ghagra Hakra presently does not exist. It is today the Sutlej river which flows along this dried river channel or the paleo channel. So paleo channel means the dried river channel of an old river. So this river rapidly changed course. So that is why it is said that this river actually did not exist at the time when the settlement was thriving. So means it is said that 3000 years later, when the Indus people survived there was only an abandoned large river valley, because river was changing course. So there was a river valley, and this was occupied by seasonal monsoon river. So seasonal monsoon river was there, no large Himalayan river, perennial river which was present in this region of the Indus Valley civilization. So this is a new study here. So here you should know Ghagra Hakra too. So this is the Ghagra Hakra river. This is the Indus river. So Harappa, Mohenjo-daro are two prominent sites of Indus Valley civilization. And this study says it's also known as Harappan civilization or even Saraswati Sindhu civilization or even Indus Ghagra Hakra river civilization. So this Ghagra Hakra was not a perennial Himalayan river at that time is what the latest study highlights. So these are the news items. Thank you.